Rodger Champagne of Champagne Productions has been making music his whole life. When he was 18, he won a new Canadian Artist Development Award. He used that award to start his career in the entertainment industry. Today, he's turned that passion to be creative into a business. He's here today to share his story, and he wants to debunk several myths about the business of being creative. Welcome to the show, Rodger.
Hey, Randy, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You are speaking my language. I've always been excited about that idea of combining creativity with business.
Yes, yeah,
Talk
it's great.
to me.
Well, I mean, where do you start? I mean, I think we all grew up with, humming in the shower or singing or the different abilities that we have as children, right? And so mine was always singing and comedy. I loved the two, and never thought growing up in a little town, Fisher Branch, Manitoba, Canada.
Fisher Branch?
Fisher Branch, yes.
I'll tell you a quick story
Sure.
about Saskatchewan.
Oh,
People
yeah.
say,
Yeah.
I say, where are you from? They say, a little town in Saskatchewan, right?
Yeah.
And I say, well, which one? They go, you've never heard of it,
Yes,
right? And
yeah.
I say, well, I know a lot of towns in Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
And then they say the name of the town, and it's always true.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because as I've traveled west, and I've traveled, extensively around the world now for different reasons, and I will inadvertently run into people that know where Fisher Branch is. So it is kind of interesting. Yeah.
So back in the day, you never would have pictured yourself being, I guess, what's the term? Impresario,
Yeah.
entertainment
Yeah, not at
entrepreneur.
all.
So what's Champagne Productions up to?
Well, I think it's safe to say for myself that we are turning a corner which I never thought we would ever turn. So it's quite exciting in the sense that we're getting opportunities that sort of came out of ashes. You know how it is when you have dreams, and I mean, I've been a musician for years. I've done the circuit. I've been in front of record labels, and of course, I've had very limited success, as many musicians do. And
You were number one in Denmark.
I was number. How did you know? Did you hear that? I was number one. I mean.
And for those of you that don't get that joke, there's a movie you need to see.
But that's kind of how it is. You get a little airplay in Europe, you get a little airplay here. But what it really boils down to is, do you have the energy and the time to stick with it? So early on, I sort of gathered that this is either going to be a hobby, or it's not going to be full time. And then out of those ashes came the idea to develop Champagne Productions in a way that we could be creative besides just music.
The myths about the entertainment business that you wanted to debunk. Talk to me about those.
Well, one of them I'm finding is, as we've developed good relationships in Los Angeles, and I'm sure I know that you know people down there, and there's this desire to get to know the person that can get you to the top. And I would say that you need to get to know the people and around you, and then you'll find the right way to the top. And what the top means is different for everybody, but for myself, it's getting to take an idea from inception. And of course, we know that there's not that many people pitching in Hollywood, so surely your idea can get there first, right? So it's funny because when you have a good idea, that's where you start. But if you don't have a good idea, a good attitude, you won't go anywhere.
So it's a relationship business like every other business, but even more so because it's creative people. But there's creativity in all businesses.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
So can you share with us some of the stuff you're working on right now?
Yeah, we can. Out of my musicianship came the idea that when I was 19, sitting in front of A&M Records, the offer to me was a contract that was 90% A&M Records, 10% Rodger Champagne. So we know today that the industry has changed a lot. I mean, with downloads, with the internet, with being able to market yourself, it's a totally different ballgame.
Completely different
It's
industry.
completely different.
Yeah.
So it actually allows people to create their own, selves, really, in the sense of how you want people to view you. So what we came up with is a show called Hit Song. It's protected. We've had it in MIPCOM France. We've had the show, basically viewed from the business standpoint all over the world. And now we have an agreement with a company in LA to develop it. And what we're trying to do is say that you have many choices as an artist. there's songs like The Voice, there's shows like The Voice, and there's shows about music, and how are we going to be different is a big question always, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to give those who are part of our team the best deal they can get.
So that was the old, and I come from the music business back in the 80s, so I have some knowledge. Yeah, I have some knowledge here,
Sure.
and my understanding is that things have completely changed. Just like the television business,
Sure.
It's no longer controlled by the distribution, by the big companies that control the distribution. Do you even need a record deal anymore?
Yes and no. You know, it really, again, I think it boils down to what the vision you have for your career is. As a young man, you know, sitting in front, I was, you know, at Capitol Records, and by the way, Capitol Records in Los Angeles was, Hal Milgram was the first guy to give me a real opportunity to present, you know, my music. And if anything, I would say it's one of the weaker points with Canada. We always try and look to, and I'm no different, we look to the States as our big brother type of thing, and we forget to realize that there's a lot of talent right here. That's a little side story. But anyway, so out of you know, those days, there was the ability to, obviously you need a record deal because you need the money, you need to go on the road. Now that you can be viewed so easily on YouTube and that, it really boils down to talent. So
you don't have that cost of actually manufacturing and designing that the actual album and actually getting it onto the store shelves. It's a completely different world.
Now it is harder in some regards too. I mean, if there's musicians watching, they're going to say, "Oh my gosh, you know, you don't want to lead people astray here," and that's true. You still do need a team. I have friends that were you know, A&R people with larger labels, and you know, the typical promotion of an album and the touring, you still need people for that. So some of it's very similar, and that's what we're trying to do. We've created a show, and I won't say more than that out of it because we're in development, but we could say that the people that are going to be involved with our show will be very well taken care of, because we want to develop you know, songs and material that are going to be with us for the long haul.
So you're developing a TV show out of Canada. You're going to the world with it. Very exciting. When are we going to see this show on TV, or can you tell us anything about how it works? Well,
I can tell you that you know, like some of the other, you know, they're fond of saying in LA, "Don't fix something that isn't broken." So, you know, we are going to be following some of the template of successful shows, which you can't get away from. But some of the changes will be in the actual mechanics of how the show works. We will have, I can tell you this, some live technology that's going to be a first on our show, I'm told, that's going to allow the viewer to interact like never before.
Wow.
And it's currently, you know, being presented as part of the show. So yeah, we think that we can bring enough, I think difference to the show that's it's going to be a lot of fun.
Champagne Productions is your company.
That's right.
You're developing TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still in the music business yourself?
Yeah, you know, it's good that you ask. I mean, not in the way I was before. So now I'm looking at publishing deals and basically taking stuff that I've written. I'm currently working with an old rock favorite, Robbie Bachman from Bachman Turner Overdrive, and he's been a lot of fun to work with. Him and I are doing some projects together. He's by the way, he's got some great film from, you know, his tours all over the world with Bachman Turner Overdrive, and of course he knows a lot of people in the industry. But I'm developing, yes, music to be maybe recorded by others, and I'll still tour and play. I've got a pretty good band and some good connections myself, but it would be more from just doing it for fun rather than being the rock star I once thought I could be.
You know, there's hope for us because a lot of these biggest stars are in their 70s.
Oh, so I'm just young, I'm just starting out.
We still got a chance. Creative spirituality.
Yeah.
What is that all about?
Well, you know, for me, one thing that I heard once, which was really interesting, was, you know, when you talk about the truth, you don't have to remember it. And my story, you know, is just one of, I had a vision, and it was pretty clear when I was 19, 20, that's what got me into the music industry. And I've been following that vision. I thought it was dead at times, and here I am at, you know, just the ripe old age of 50, And it's
Thought you were going to say, here I am at 30, just ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, I don't buy the 50 is the new 40 and that. I'm just 50. I like it. I like where I am. It's the most freedom I've ever had in my life. We're seeing the most success we've ever had, and that's fun. So we want to continue to take that, and I just have to give credit where credit is due, I guess. And I believe that I have God guiding me. And what does that mean? People always say, well, what does that mean, God guiding you? Well, I think there's principles in life. I call it responsible capitalism. That you take care of people, you take care of it because everyone in God's sight is valuable. You know, we talk about self-esteem issues and people have today. Well, you wouldn't have those issues if you knew that you were valued. Right? So my value comes from my creator. It doesn't come from whether I sign deals in LA or if somebody thinks my music's great now it's taken a long time to get to that. You have to come to that. So my spirituality is I'm more comfortable than I ever have been being myself and allowing other people to be themselves. And that's a lot of fun.
The music business and to a lesser or greater extent, the entire entertainment business kind of is perceived to be sleazy.
You have to understand where somebody's coming from. You know, if a person is dying of thirst, you know what their first knee-jerk reaction is? They just want to drink, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same in entertainment. If a person is thinking that that's their only chance, they will almost drown you.
Right.
Right? You know what I'm talking about, right? They want your attention. They want to almost drown you because they think that's it. That's their only shot. So I sort of give people a lot of grace because it sounds like you're in a trance. You know, after you come out of that and realize, even if you get there and you've stepped on everybody on the way to get there, and we know there's people that have done that, what do you have in the end? You've got nothing. And I have friends that work in Hollywood, they're lighting people, and they hang out with the so-called stars. And I've met some pretty good people in Los Angeles. But at the end of the day, you know, you really, when the cameras are off and the lights are not there, you have to live life. And people have this perception, you know, I grew up with television, I don't know about you. You know, you watch television, that was like a fantasy world. Well, the two have to be separated. And sometimes it's hard for people to do.
Rodger Champagne, the show is called Hit Song.
Hit Song.
And I'm so excited that we get to find out about it before it hits the airwaves. Congratulations on everything you're doing. Thank you so much for being on Biz One-on-One. Really appreciate it.